Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope you are doing well. So I welcome you again to your psychology class, and we are doing chapter number 1, Psychology Class Plus 1. The name of the chapter is What is Psychology? This is part 6 of this chapter, and if you have not seen the previous parts, you can check the link in the description box. And in this part we will study about themes of research and application. Basically, in psychology, like other scientific subjects, psychologists they engage in two kinds of activities. One is research and the other is application. Research means investigation or study, and the application is basically applying those principles in the real life setting. And there are some of the themes which provide direction to research and application of psychology. Actually, there are a number of such themes, but we will discuss only 5 themes that are there in your syllabus. So let's start with theme number 1, that is psychology, like other sciences, attempts to develop principles of behavior and mental processes. So, as it has been discussed earlier, that psychology is a science and it studies mental processes, experiences, and human behavior. So, psychologists, like other scientists, they collect data, they design and conduct experiments under controlled conditions, and they draw conclusions which are supported by data. And the purpose of all this is to develop general principles about behavior and mental processes. And moreover, the conclusions which are drawn on the basis of such studies, they are applied to everybody and are therefore universal. And some of the domains or areas representing basic psychology are experimental, comparative, physiological, developmental, social, differential, and abnormal psychology. And the themes of research in all these fields basically differ from each other. For example, experimental psychologists study the processes of perception, learning, memory, thinking, and motivation, etc., using experiment as their method of inquiry, whereas physiological psychologists attempt to examine psychological basis of these behaviors. Now, the second theme of research and application is human behavior is a function of the attributes of persons and environment. Actually, it was Kurt Lewin who first proposed the famous equation which suggests that the behavior is the product of a person and his or her environment. So, what this equation simply tells us is that the variations or the changes that we find in human behavior are largely due to the fact that persons differ with respect to their various characteristics. First, because of their genetic characteristics, and second, because of the environments they are placed in. We all know that in terms of psychological attributes or characteristics, no two individuals are same, not even identical twins, and this we have studied earlier also. They vary with respect to their intelligence, interests, values, aptitudes, and various other personality characteristics. And a discipline called differential psychology, which focuses on individual differences, emerged and flourished in the late 19th and early 20th century. Besides individual differences, psychologists also believe that there are variations in human behavior which occur due to environmental factors. And this is a view which psychologists have taken from anthropologists, evolutionary theorists, and biologists. Psychologists try to explain how the environment in which a person lives in affects his behavior and his personality. Now, the third theme is human behavior is caused. This theme suggests that there's always some internal or external cause behind the human behavior. Basically, causal explanations are central to all sciences because without understanding the causes, no prediction will be possible. Actually, psychologists believe that there is no one cause of behavior. Basically, human behavior has multiple causes. Therefore, psychologists rule out simple linear explanations such as X causing Y. Means there's only one reason for a particular kind of behavior. They simply reject this linear explanation. So, in psychology, we cannot pinpoint one cause of behavior because it may itself be caused by another variable, which in turn may be caused by some other. For example, a child who is not doing well in studies, there may be a number of causes behind such kind of behavior. All right. So now let's move on to the fourth theme of research and application, that is understanding of human behavior is culturally constructed. And this theme of psychology has recently came into being. There are psychologists who believe that most psychological theories and models are Euro-American in nature and therefore do not help us in understanding behaviors in other cultural settings. Means most of the theories in psychology are based on the researches done by Western psychologists. So these researches cannot be applicable here in Indian culture or in Indian settings. For example, a theory developed by an American psychologist on the basis of research done on American people may not be applicable here on Indian people. It means that to understand the human behavior, one has to understand his or her culture. All right, means the theories, the tests that are developed to understand human behavior should be culturally fair, not culturally biased. All right. And now the last theme of research and application that is there in your syllabus is that human behavior can be controlled and modified through the application of psychological principles. It means various psychological principles which are derived from various theories can be used in real life settings for controlling and modifying the human behavior. So basically, this theme deals with the application part of research, means whatever has been studied can be applied in real life setting. With the help of those theories, those principles, human behavior can be modified, it can be changed, as well as it can be controlled. Thus, several independent branches of psychology have emerged that try to use psychological theories, principles, and facts to diagnose and resolve problems. For example, industrial psychology, organizational psychology, clinical psychology, educational psychology, engineering psychology, and sports psychology. These are some of the areas in which psychologists are engaged in delivering services to individuals, groups, or institutions. And one thing to be noted at this point that these various areas put under basic and applied psychology. Actually, basic psychology provides us with the theories and principles that form the basis of application of psychology, and applied psychology provides us with different contexts in which these theories and principles derived from research can be meaningfully applied. Actually, there is no fundamental difference between research and application of psychology, means there's no fundamental difference between basic and applied psychology. And these two are highly interrelated and mutually reinforcing. Actually, earlier some branches or fields of psychology were regarded as primarily research oriented, which gradually turned into application oriented. And newly emerging disciplines like applied experimental psychology, applied social psychology, and applied developmental psychology indicate that in fact all psychology has the potential of application and is basically applied in nature. So, this was all about the themes of research and application, and I hope you have understood this. And this is all for today. We will meet once again in a new video with a new topic. Till then, take care, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.